Hey, brothers and sisters, Francis Santa Rose here, just bringing a word today. Quick word today. I'm about to go into the gym. But God kind of put something in my heart He wanted me to read and talk about. Um, I don't know if anybody can feel it, but we're just so darn close. I mean, we're just so darn close. It's so time. It's just time to go. Like never before I'm feeling it. I mean, I've always had little twinges of things before, but now it's mounting every day. I guess this new sense of urgency before, as it seemed to draw closer to the time that everybody was expecting, like Feast of Trumpets last year, I was less expectant. As we got closer to that time, it was like, you know, uh, for instance, about a month out, I was like, I was feeling something, I was feeling something, I was feeling something. But as we got closer to it, I was feeling less and less and less and less and less until like a week before, I was like, we're not going, we're not going anywhere. I didn't feel it at all. Um, but that's not what's going on now. Every day, I'm feeling an increase, an urgency, an urgency. That's what it is. It's a sense of urgency for the body, for the world, for the believers. Um, I started taking more prayer requests and phone calls and stuff, and it's been really good. The deliverance has been remarkable. The healing testimonies are crazy cool. Um, I can't even name them all. What's going on right now? It's really, really very good. So I want to encourage y'all. If anybody has anything or anybody, because of where we are in time, I'm making myself available pretty much 24/7. I'm going to sleep for a couple of hours, and I got to work. I work from, a couple of hours. I'm on the floor where I can't do anything from 4 to 7:30. But before that and after that, with the exception of a couple of hours sleep, I'm dedicating to just prayer for people. So if you have anybody that's dealing with anything that's really crazy, that needs deliverance, sickness, disease, whatever it is, F Santa Rose, F is in Francis, Santa Rose, Santa like Santa Claus, Rose like the flower, at gmail.com. Give them my email address. I'll swap numbers with them, and they can call me and I'll pray with them. I'm doing whatever I can right now. There's just, we're at that place that I don't have the luxury of time just to do anything else anymore. That's how intensely I'm feeling this thing. It's like I'm just pushing ahead with, when he told me the year, he said it's enough to know the year. Now go feed my sheep. And he took the desire to search out and seek the when, because for me, the year, well, what did he say? He said it's enough to know the year. I mean, he told me it's enough to know the year. So it's enough to know the year. That's enough. Now, all I can do is what he commissioned me to do. And as we're drawing closer, I'm feeling more of an urgency to do that thing that he commissioned me to do. And that was to heal people, he heals them, to pray for them, for their healing and deliverance. And that's what I'm doing. So today he gave me a word out of, I'm in Philippians chapter 2, and I'm in verse 14. And he said, remind him this, because this is a hindrance that will cause a pause in your prayer requests. He says, do all things without complaining and disputing. Stop fighting with one another. A couple of weeks ago I did that video where God kind of was moving on me. It was about the rapture, and he was pulling out all these verses talking about the rapture. So I'm coming. And then he sent me to this odd, obscure verse that says, look, as the day approaches, make sure you do this. And it was stop complaining against the brothers. It was really kind of cool. It was like, look, the rapture's coming, so stop complaining. This is something I want you to do. I want you to focus on. Stop grumbling against your brothers. So if you've got people out there that you disagree with their teaching, leave it alone. Just leave it alone. If they're messing up, leave it alone. Don't rail against them. Don't spread rumors about them. And I always go like this. If I don't know the guy, if I haven't sat in his church, if I haven't heard his sermons, then all I'm going on is hearsay. You can't convict somebody on hearsay. That's why they don't allow hearsay in a court of law, because it's not trustworthy evidence. Okay, it's somebody else's opinion. A great example I'll give you is, and look, I am no Joel Osteen apologist. I don't know Joel. Lovely guy, I'm sure. I know he's made some mistakes in the pulpit. I get that. I understand. But people talk about how Joel is leading people away from salvation because he tells them that there's many different paths to God. And that rumor was being spread around, and it's hearsay. It's just a rumor that's going around. And I clicked on the video that referenced it, and that's not what he said at all. That's not what he said at all. And I could have turned around and spread that rumor like everyone else. But that's not what he said. What he said was there's many different paths to Jesus. He didn't say there's many different paths to God, and there are. How many people come to Jesus from different directions? You know, some people have to hit rock bottom to find Jesus. Some people get it early in life. Some people go through drugs and alcohol and then find Jesus. People find Jesus from all different avenues. He didn't say there's many different paths to God. Now, I know he said other contentious things. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about any of that. I don't care. I was just making a point. That was used, that interview was used to belittle him, and everybody was spreading it, and that's not what he said. And another thing, here's another thing. Those media, 60 Minutes and all those, they edit that stuff to make those people look bad. They can change and cut and edit something to make it appear like somebody said something they didn't really say. So you can't use that. If you're going to an old 60 Minutes clip to convict somebody, don't. If you haven't heard it come out of their mouth, leave it alone. Leave it alone. You got no business talking about it. Why? Because it's hearsay. And if you think, well, I saw him say it on TV, you can't use that either. Because that's coming out of what? The beast system, media. You can't trust it. They can cut and edit that stuff to make anybody say anything. Anything, y'all. Don't go there. Leave the brothers alone. If he's messing up, it's God's job to deal with it. It's not ours. It's God's job to judge him, not ours. Just leave it alone. Just let it go. So he says, do all things without complaining and disputing. We are not supposed to be fighting amongst each other. Not now. Not now. Not this time. You know, what does the Bible say? It says, encourage each other with songs and hymns and build each other up. And look, what is the old saying go? My mother used to say it all the time. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Just keep it to yourself, y'all. Just keep it to yourself. If you haven't got anything nice to say, just keep it to yourself. Just move on with your life. It's none of your business. It's none of my business. It's none of our business. What somebody else does with their life is their business. It's between them and God. God is their judge. He's their daddy. We're not. You know, it's like I always say, if my children messed up, it was my job as a father to discipline them. But if they bring home some neighbor kid and he messes up, I don't have the right to discipline him. He's not my child. All I can do is send him home. Maybe I call his parents and tell him, hey, your son did this. It's not my job. Right? It's not our job to judge and convict other people. We're supposed to do everything we do without complaining. Stop complaining. We are not to complain about anything. So I want you to evaluate. Take a look at yourself. Take a look in the mirror. Take a look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I complaining about anything? You know, we're not supposed to complain about our situations. We're not supposed to complain about our jobs. We're not supposed to complain about the government. Why? Because God put it there. You know, he put all the governments. There isn't anybody that's in leadership that didn't get there because God allowed them to be there. Right? So what is complaining about it going to do? They're ordained to be there. You know, all this stuff that we're grumbling and complaining about. What does the Bible say? Whatever is good, whatever is lovely, whatever is pure, whatever is of a good report, think on these things. Because it's the things that you think about that are going to go into your heart, that are going to end up coming out of your mouth. So I want to encourage you, do all things without grumbling and complaining. He says, why? So that you may become blameless and harmless. Harmless. See, when we grumble and we complain, we harm people. We harm ourselves. you're bringing judgment upon yourself. Most people that judge other people, they judge them because that's the stuff that they're doing. That's what's in their heart to do. So they complain and judge other people about it. And if you're smart and you realize that people know that the stuff that's coming out of your mouth is because that's what's in your heart, then maybe you'll close your mouth. Because people know that when you say that thing, that's in you. And that's what he's talking about. We're not supposed to judge, he says, lest you be judged. But we don't dispute and we don't complain, he says, because look what it says here. He says that you may become blameless. So if we're computing and disputing and complaining, we're going to be blamed. We're not blameless. We are blamed and harmful. See, this word harmful means our complaining, our disputing is hurting other people. That's not walk of love. Everything we do, we're supposed to do out of love. Complaining and disputing is harmful. It's hurting other people. It caused them to fall. You have baby Christians around and they're watching the way you behave, and if you complain and you dispute, that leaves not only does it leave a bad impression on them, but it also leaves a bad example for them. Because baby Christians are watching the mature Christians, and then when the mature Christians can't watch their words, they're complaining about things and disputing with people about ministries or this and that, other people are watching it. They're on those comments, reading them, and they're looking at how mature Christians are acting. And number one, it'll either put them up, make them think to themselves, well, this is a Christian, I don't want to be one, and they'll go, or they'll think this is the way Christians behave, and they'll start to act like that. Either way, it's a bad example. No, we're supposed to be blameless, right? And we're not supposed to be hurtful to other people. So it's important. Our disputing and our complaining is hurtful, and it brings blame upon us. So I want to encourage you. Let's be blameless. Let's not be hurtful. Let's stop complaining and disputing about anything. This is the attitude I have. If somebody writes into me and they're contentious, I just say, look, I respectfully disagree. This is my point of view. And just leave it at that. You don't attack them. You don't insult them. State your point of view, and that's that. And you know what? Sometimes they'll fire back, and maybe they'll change their angle of attack. It's going off, maybe they venture off somewhere else. And maybe I'll respond and say, look, this is my opinion on this, or this is what the Lord told me. But if it goes past 2 or 3 times, I'm done. I'm done. They just want to argue. All right, that's that complaining and disputing. Some people just want to argue. They just want to fight. That's the nature of their personality, and I'll just shut it down there. So that's my opinion, and this conversation's over. Because it doesn't do any good. Most people that fight or argue, complain and dispute, they're not really disputing because they're interested in knowing a truth about something. They just want to prove their point. They just want to be right. And there's nothing you can say or do to convince them otherwise, because they've made up in their mind what their opinion is. Now, it's different if somebody says, and this happens once in a while, I'll have somebody say, hey, I was taught this about this subject, but you're saying this over here. Can you qualify or quantify that in the word or show me? Man, I love that. Because that's somebody that's saying, hey, wow, what you're saying contradicts what I've learned. So, I have an open mind here, but show me in the Word where it says that. Or do you have another scripture to back that up than the one that you quoted? That's intelligence right there. That's a smart person who's humble, they're teachable, they're open. Look, I'm not just going to follow any wind of doctrine. Show me the truth in the Word, And you know, if you can show me that what my doctrine was wrong, I'll consider that. That's that's the attitude we should have. Not that we're going to follow whatever anybody tells us, but we have to have an open mind to, hey, what are you saying there? Let me see if I understand what you're saying. Not just trying to make you believe my point of view. If you notice those people, detect them right away and just cut them off, because they don't really want to know the truth. They just want to argue. You know, they just like to hear themselves speak. It's like, have you ever talked to somebody and you're having this discussion with them and they're talking and talking, they like to dominate the conversation, and then they take a breath, or maybe they asked a question, and a lot of times when they ask the question, they're not even waiting for an answer. They just took a breath, and you kind of slid in there to follow that question up with an answer. And they maybe even started to talk, but because you were already talking, they shut up. And you know they're not even listening to you. They're just waiting for you to finish so they can say what they want to say. Hate that. Hate that. They don't even care what you have to say. They're not, you can tell as you're explaining your point of view to them, they're not even listening to you. They're just waiting. They're like, they're waiting for any pause that you make so they can jump in with finish their point or whatever. That's just, it's an arrogant spirit. All right, it's an unteachable, prideful spirit. That's a demonic spirit, because Satan was very prideful. So I wanted to touch on that about computing. I did it again. Disputing and complaining. Just don't. As we move into this time, try and be agreeable and agree to disagree. You know, I always say it. It's like a family. You got 3 or 4 brothers and sisters. You don't all get along. You might have 1 or 2 that you get along with better than the other 2. The other 2 rub you wrong constantly, but they're still your brothers and sisters. You love them. You might not do as much stuff with them, but they're still your brothers and sisters, and you still love them. You just, you don't see eye to eye in everything. I had 2 brothers. My oldest brother was a lot different than Christopher that y'all have met. Him and I were really close. We had a lot of the same interest. You can tell we do a lot of stuff alike. We're really close, so we hang out together all the time because we have that relationship. And my oldest brother was completely opposite of us. We didn't have anything in common. We didn't forge that bond, but I still love him. He went off and did a whole different thing in his life that was kind of crazy, but I still loved him. He's still my brother. See, it's like that with us, with believers. We're brothers and sisters, all right? We're not all going to agree on everything. We're not all going to get along. At some point, we've got to say, let's agree to disagree, move on. Find common ground to talk about. So he says, do all things without complaining and disputing, not computing, so that we may become blameless and harmless. We got to be harmless, y'all. See, when we're harmful, we're not walking in love. This complaining and disputing is harmful to people. It's harmful. It's harmful to the body of Christ. It makes us look bad. How does it appear to other people? Baby Christians and new believers and people that are thinking about becoming believers. It looks bad. It looks bad on us. It looks bad to about us. So he says, children of God, we're to be blameless and harmless, children of God, without fault, in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation. See, when we're complaining and disputing, we begin to look like them. He says, I don't want you to look like them. We may be in this crooked and perverse world, but we're not supposed to be like them. We're supposed to look different than them. We're supposed to be the type of people that when people look at us, they go, wow, what it is about those people. They're different. I want to be like that. I want that kind of peace. I want that kind of love. I want that kind of joy. Man, his whole world is falling apart, and he's still like, it's crazy, unbelievable. He's just like so cool with it, He says, among whom you shine as lights in the world. Boom. See, all of this is about us shining. Jesus said you don't put a shade on a lamp. We're a light, a lamp to the world, and we're supposed to shine like Jesus. When people see us, when people meet us, they should look at us and say, there's something about you. There's just something about you. I'm attracted. I'm drawn to you. And it's not an appearance thing. Beauty comes from the inside. It comes out of us from the inside. When you're beautiful on the inside, you're more beautiful on the outside. Have you ever met somebody that was just gorgeous on the outside, but they're just ugly and mean, and after a short time, they're not attractive at all anymore? They're just not. They're not attractive. You don't want to take two looks at them because they're just so mean and ugly and spiteful and bitter and angry. But then you take somebody that's just, average looking, but they're so sweet and kind and loving inside. And after just a short time, it's like, man, that person becomes beautiful. They become absolutely beautiful because that light radiates from the inside out. He says, so we are to shine as lights in this world, this wicked and perverse and crooked world. We're supposed to be the light of the world. Let your light shine out there. And when you're complaining and disputing, that's not a shining light. That is not a shining light. We are not supposed to be doing that. He says, holding fast the word of life. All right, so let's hold on to this thing we got. Let's hold on to it. Let's run the race. It's like you got the baton. You're the last leg of the relay. Hold on to that thing and keep running. I know you want to quit. I know you're tired, but come on. You look, you're going to let the whole team down if you quit. You can't quit. You don't have you can't quit. You can't quit now. We're right there. We're right at the finish line. There's no quitting now. Hold fast this thing. We got this. It's done, guys. We're done. We're there. We made it. We made it. We made it. Those of you that are like, I'm so burnt, I'm so tired, I'm so ready to go. We made it. We're there. We're there, y'all. It's here. It's time. This is it. Time's up. All right? Just wanted to say that. And hold on one second. Okay, so I've got actually a couple of testimonies. I've been doing a lot of daytime and evening. I've been doing a lot of praying with people. I'm giving my number out a lot, more than I ever have, and I'm probably doing, I don't know, I'm doing multiple sessions a day. When I say session, anybody who knows who's prayed with me, it's not just oh, Father, take their pain away in Jesus' name, amen. It's not like that, man. I go through an entire process now. I go through the altar of love. I go through the entire thing. And because there's something about what happens when the revelation comes upon them that empowers them with a faith that is this childlike faith that moves mountains. And the people that I've been praying with, I could sit here for 30, 40 minutes, an hour, probably 2 or 3 hours listing them all, but there's so many now. I'm like losing track. I've been praying for a lot of people with MS lately. MS has been like a real popular thing, and so far the feedback that I'm getting is that victory. Victory. There was one woman who had lesions on her brain, and this hurt and that hurt, her knees, and she couldn't hardly walk because she would get real dizzy, and and there's been like 5 or 6 of them. So if I'm intertwining some of these stories, forgive me, because they're coming on so fast, and there's so many of them, but just completely delivered. I have one woman, I think from Kentucky or Tennessee or something like that. She was really battling bad, and she's written me a couple times, said complete victory, all my symptoms are gone, and she was debilitated, y'all. She was like at her wit's end, like, I don't know what to do, I can't take it anymore, this is crazy insane, the symptoms are so bad I can't even function in life. And she's like, I am completely free. There's nothing there. Completely free, to where she's introducing me here and there, and like, you got to call this guy, which is fine. I'm available. I'll go preach this message, but I'm telling you right now, this message is revolutionary. The altar of love is revolutionary. I don't know, I haven't seen where it hasn't worked yet. I haven't seen where it hasn't produced healing in some area. You know, it's funny. There was this young woman who had really bad knees, but while we were talking, she had a really bad elbow and kind of shoulder and elbow injury, which completely went away. Like, she couldn't even do a push-up. She's like this fitness nut, real big into sports and athletics. And then afterwards, she just got on the ground and was boom, 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 pushing out push-ups, and went to the gym that day. And she had stopped going because, or, you know, doing anything with her arms because it was in so much pain, you know, stuff like that. And then her knees got healed, but didn't get completely healed. And I told her, I said, that's because you're supposed to continue with this thing. You're supposed to exercise it. You know, she had ACL surgery, and but you know, she had a lot of relief. A lot of the pain went. And so it's just been really good. It's been really good. So I just want to say I love you guys, and we're about to go home. We're so close to going home now. I want you to rejoice and start. It's like, think about it like this: your child's about to go to their, you know, their wedding. It's your child's wedding. Your first child, your firstborn. So it's the first one in the family of your kids to get hitched. And you're getting really excited because it's coming up. It's coming up, and you can't wait. You can't wait. The wedding's going to be awesome. We got this great wedding planned, and there's going to be a great party, and the whole family's coming together. And I want you to start getting excited because it's time to go. 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 We have a little more time. It's not going to be just yet. We have a couple more weeks, but it's time to go. Remember, 5777 is over this spring. It's time to go. So I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.